So the point to make is that over the next 3.5 years, India will have to now rethink its foreign policy because Trump will not give a strategic role to India. Now, what will then Grow do as India's ambassador in India? America's ambassador in India. Well, in addition to all the duties which are done by the ambassador, in my opinion, three things he'll be looking at. One, he'll be monitoring the progress of the 13th February 2025 joint statement where India has promised that the present bilateral trade, which is around $131 billion in the next 5 years, it will be enhanced to $500 billion, which is being called Mission 500. So he'll be monitoring this. Second, Grow will keep a very close eye on Operation Sindoor and all the activities going on in India associated with Operation Sindoor, because Sindoor has not ended. It has not resulted in a ceasefire. It has merely been paused by Prime Minister Modi, which means either side can lift the pause and the operation restarts. And third, obviously, he would be looking very closely to get the opinion at the highest levels of the Indian government on what they think about Pakistan, Indus Water Treaty, China, Afghanistan, Kashmir, and all these issues. But as I said, his role as the ambassador will not be that important. His critical role will be as the special envoy of America for South and Central Asian affairs. Now here once again the Indian diplomats say that what was the need to give this important role to Grow when already the State Department has a position called the Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs. Well, there are three reasons why this was given to Grow by Trump. One is that unlike the Assistant Secretary of State who reports to the Secretary of State, Grow will report directly to Trump. He has the president's ears. Second, Grow will be the man on the ground. He will know what is going on, and most important, in this present position, he will be free to travel to Pakistan, where the Trump administration has set out a strategic role for Pakistan. So the first question is, how did Trump come up with this very clever thinking? Where did it originate from? In my opinion, this thinking came from the lunch that President Trump had with the Pakistan Army Chief, Field Marshal Asim Munir, on the 18th of June in White House. Now, there we know that Trump publicly thanked Munir for ending the war, and Munir thanked Trump for bringing about the ceasefire, and Pakistan also nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. And there Trump would have asked Munir about his assessment of the air war that happened on the night of 7th-8th May as part of Operation Sindoor, and Munir would have told him that the Pakistan Air Force brought down 6 aircraft of the Indian Air Force. Since the Indian side did not comment on this at all, or it did in a very fuzzy way, then Trump would have concluded, after of course discussing with his own intelligence agencies, that after this 4-day Operation Sindoor, Pakistan military seemed to be a competitor of the Indian military. That's a very big thing. Now, he would have also asked Munir for his opinion on Iran, because after all, not only Pakistan has a contiguous border with Iran, the two countries also have very close ties with one another. As to what he thinks of Iran, what he thinks of Middle East, and there Munir would have given his assessment, and I believe that based on his assessment of Munir of Iran, all this happened on the 18th of June, and please remember, this is the time when the Israelis were trying very hard to get Trump in the war, to get the Americans in the war, a war that they started on the 13th of June. And Trump was resisting that. So he would have got the inputs from various sources, most important from Munir about Iran. And after that, now the reports tell us that it was like a fixed match The bombing which was done by the Americans on the Iranian nuclear facilities was a fixed match, and the purpose was to end the war between Israel and Iran, making sure that Israel did not lose face, and Trump succeeded in that. So there are three reasons why Trump would have thought that Pakistan is important. One is that Pakistan once again has a contiguous border with Afghanistan, and it is best place to bring stability in Afghanistan, which is very important. Second, after the Americans left Afghanistan in August of 2021, Trump believes that America should have a foothold in the region. A foothold from where it can monitor Iran, the Middle East, Afghanistan, and the Central Asian republics. And what better place for a foothold than India to give the additional charge of America's ambassador in India, the additional charge which he has been given. And the third reason in my assessment is that Pakistan obviously is the best country to help America manage relations with China. Now, when I say manage relations, what this means is that the Pakistanis' assessment of what the Chinese are doing, what are their activities in Pakistan and elsewhere, and China would not have minded this at all. Why? I'll explain that in a while. So when we look at all that, it becomes very clear that the strategic role that Pakistan has now with America is in counter-terrorism, basically looking at Afghanistan and the Central Asian republics. Then it has a security role, which is through the Central Command. The Central Command of America and the Pakistan military, traditionally they've had very strong ties. Then the third is intelligence cooperation. This is absolutely important. Next is that to get a sense from the highest levels of the Pakistan military as to what they think about Middle East, about Iran, and the entire area that I am talking about, which is South and Central Asian republics. And that is possible because Pakistan is a well respected member of OIC, of SCO, and the Economic Cooperation Organization. And all these three are very important. And of course, as I said, to help America manage the relationship with China. And in addition to all this, the strategic role, obviously, whenever and frequently, I presume that Grove would be going to Pakistan, he would also want to know, because as I said, there is a pause in Operation Sindoor as to what exactly the Pakistanis think about large-scale terror attacks happening either in Kashmir or in Balochistan, what they think about the Kashmir issue, the dispute, and all the talk in India, both at the political level, high political level, as well as the military leadership level that goes on about taking back Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Then also they're thinking about the Indus Water Treaty, which India has now put in abeyance, and also building up the capabilities that India is doing. For example, the announcement by Prime Minister Modi about Sudarshan Chakra, which is the ballistic missile defense for the whole of India. So all this will be important for America, and this is why, in my assessment, now the Pakistanis have a strategic role with America, and as I said, China would not mind that. But first of all, let's see what China is doing separately with Pakistan. Now, three things are happening. As far as after Operation Sindoor, after the results of Operation Sindoor, where the world in general accepts that Pakistan military is a peer competitor of the Indian military. One is what is going on between Pakistan and China. In my assessment, the next level for China is to build Pakistan military to be the leading military power in the region. I've explained this separately in my video. Next, they would be looking at how to revive SAARC, which India left in 2014. and whose headquarter is in Nepal. So this is something that they would be looking at. Next is with Pakistan, they have already announced they want to take the CPEC to the next level. And that will happen once the 5G rollout happens in Pakistan, and then things will move from automation to autonomy. So a lot is going on between Pakistan and China, and the Pakistan military leadership would have no hesitation in discussing all this with the Americans. Now, the next is the the trilateral relationship, which we saw during the recent trip of Wang Yi to Afghanistan, where he met up. The trilateral leadership is the Afghanistan, Pakistan, and China, where the Chinese are looking at stability, bring stability in Afghanistan. They are looking at how to extend the CPEC from Pakistan into Afghanistan and then on to the Central Asian republics, and they are looking at investments in Afghanistan, and the response of the Afghan leadership seems to be favorable to this trilateral cooperation. And the next what we look at is the military cooperation that is building up between Pakistan and Bangladesh. Please remember that the Chinese exports after Pakistan, the second more exports are to Bangladesh. And now the relations between the two have become very cozy. Between Bangladesh and Pakistan, they are doing intelligence sharing, then there is military training going on, then there are naval exercises going on. The long and short is, I have done a video earlier where I have explained that China and Pakistan are looking at having a presence, a big presence in the Western Indian Ocean region, and this is where Bangladesh will also link up. So this is important. Now I come to my last point as to why China will not have any problems with Pakistan sharing all this with Trump, with the Americans. Because what Trump does not seem to realize, or the Americans per se, analysts don't seem to realize, is that when we talk of managing great power relationship, they are actually agreeing to something that Xi Jinping had proposed to America in 2012. You see, as Vice President, Xi Jinping had visited America in February 2012, and this is the first time he had proposed to President Obama what is called the new type of major power relationship, which the Americans had rejected because they were in favor of a G2. G2 and these two are entirely different. G2 is about whatever the Americans have done, because now China has risen power, it can be a shareholder in what they have done. For example, the Bretton Woods reforms have happened, and all the institutions that the Americans have created, to which the Chinese said no. And they instead proposed this because they have, unlike America, which thinks in terms of geopolitics, they know their rise is based on geoeconomics. So as part of geoeconomic rise, when they talk of new type of major power relationship, it means that first of all, between the major powers, which is referring to the great powers, the three great powers, there should be equality, there should be mutual respect, there should be a clear understanding of each other's core concerns, which is something which President Trump is already thinking about, and where the Chinese will be very happy that Pakistanis share this viewpoint with the Americans. And of course, the last one is that because the Americans think, and the G7 and the global North, they think, they always see security as a zero-sum game, whereas as far as the thinking of the Chinese is concerned, as I said, based on geoeconomics, it is about win-win. That means both the sides can win, we all can win together. So that stage has still not come, but this is a narrative for another time. So the point to make is that today what has happened is that after Operation Sindoor, not only Pakistan's geopolitical profile has gone up, it has a lot to gain also. The key thing here is that Pakistan today is sought by all the three great powers, which is America, China, and Russia, and its foreign policy is actually anchored on global south, because unlike the case of India, where its foreign policy was pivoted on a nation which is 12,000 kilometers away in a multipolar world where there were three great powers, Pakistan's foreign policy is anchored on close ties with China. So it is anchored at the right place. Pakistan is a global south nation and it has anchored the foreign policy there. So I presume that this foreign policy is likely to be stable. Thank you so much.